welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as we see what's going on in our lovely island of Fawnhallow today in a late night episode. Not really much motivation behind it, just late night. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna end up talking about today. What's a song that's stuck in my head today? I very much say it's Touch by Cat's Eye. Cause you're waiting on a touch, 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 touch. I don't even know lyrics. Da 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 much, 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 much. Something like that. Good evening, everyone. And I'm Fawnhallow. It's 11:25 p.m. on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Yeah. You know what's interesting about the Touch song is I feel like I've been on a very circuitous journey on how I learned about a song. I feel like there was a similar thing with Charlie XCX with Apple or whatever, where it's like I randomly, well actually no, it's a bit different now I think about it, but like with Cat's Eye's Touch, like I randomly heard about it because if you don't know, Cat's Eye are like, I mean we're not really a K-pop group, but I think they are a similar thing to a K-pop group but international. I don't know what that is called. I feel like I've heard a term like Z group, Z pop or something, but anyway. They're like a group, and then like I've heard their debut, they were like part of like a reality TV show or whatever. I don't really know the full details of it, but I remember at least when their like first song got released, it was like you know hearing about them, and the second song got released, which I think was Touch. Like the first one's debut, the second one's Touch. I think they have another one, but I can't remember what it's called, like Miss You or something like that. And you know I watched it as I wanted to do. You know I sometimes keep up with some K-pop releases and out of curiosity here and there. It's on the list of like random subreddits I go to because I am familiar, I suppose, with. I was going to say sensation. That's not the right word. With the fandom, I suppose, in first place because of I used to be more into it, but nowadays don't really keep up with. So I check in every now and then. Like K-pop, Homestuck. I sometimes do. My Little Pony. I'm trying to think of ones which I very rarely come back to. But I'm just like, you know what, I want to browse something, so I want to see what's going on in that subreddit or something for now. That's what ends up happening. So I heard Touch back then, and I was like, this is like a nice sort of like very catchy song. It feels like, especially with like that and Eugene's and all that. I'm trying to think of the Illit, is that the other one, but the more recent one? But there's like a very sort of like softer element, I think, to K-pop groups, like back. We had like really cutesy era for a while, and then we went for like girl crush cool era, and then we sort of went to like this like low key, much more sort of casual, relaxed sort of vibe. I'm not really sure how to describe it properly, but anyway. So heard that ages ago, like completely forgot about it, and then like it completely like blew up on TikTok. I guess it's because it's got like a very very catchy dance, which you can go look it up if you want. Like it's very simple, sort of catchy, point move to it, and despite the fact I don't go on TikTok very often, I still, sometimes see TikToks or get linked TikToks or like stumble across them uploaded to other platforms because, the entire internet is just one aggregation, I suppose, of the same viral videos being shared across all platforms all the time. And it became like a dance trend, right? And then like I heard it and I was like, oh, it's like a catchy song, but not really realizing that, yeah, this is a song I already knew at that point. Until I stumbled across, like, I can't remember at some point again, someone like mentioning it by name and be like, why does that sound familiar? And I looked it up and I'm like, this is a TikTok song. And then I looked up the music video and I went, wait a minute, no, this is a song I already knew. I don't know. It's like a weird, very circuitous path. And that's why I say like Charlie XCX Apple is a similar sort of thing. Except for I never actually saw, technically I did listen to the Brat Summer album like once through when it first came out, but I didn't remember it very well. And then it, I feel like I saw Apple a lot on like random TikToks I'm linked to. Like I'm talking about TikToks, you might get the impression of like, oh, I'm on TikTok all the time, I watch TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok app, so so much for that. But I don't know, it's just like you hear it in like these small like random videos here and there which people make, because like I don't know, I feel like things sort of blow up a lot through TikTok and then that permeates through other media created. I mean, it was recently someone stream was talking about Brat Summer again. I can't remember why exactly. And then I was like, I'm gonna go listen to that album again. I mean, I listened to the album, and unsurprisingly, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember this song, Apple. something along those lines. I can't remember. But there's something very circuitous paths, which I feel like I've taken to absorbing the songs which are very, very popular. Like, oh, you know, it's so weird when you hear like a very, very popular song. Like, like for me, because I don't keep up with like popular releases all too often. It's not like I'm listening to. It's only recently where I'm starting to try and listen to like top releases more often, because I'm just like, I like these songs. I don't know why I never actually bother trying listening to them. I just catch on to these trends like way too late. But it's very interesting when you get to such a circuitous path to actually hearing them, and even weirder when you actually hear the popular songs, not before they necessarily got super popular, but before they became like a household name, I suppose, in a sense, through some very sort of convoluted way. And then from my perspective, checking out the popular songs, like, oh, what's all the fuss about? Being like, wait a minute, I already knew the song, I didn't realise this was this song. But the one I always think about is Despacito, because at least from my perspective, Despacito, I can't remember when Despacito exactly blew up. Despacito went, well, in the West, I mean, not in the West, sorry, in the UK, because as I understand, it's probably like, it was very popular in like Spanish speaking countries for a while or something. It was released 2017 February, and it peaked in April. Okay, that was actually a lot shorter thing than I thought. I guess it's because Despacito did get pretty popular, but I heard it first, like very, very early on, I think, because I'm not actually sure if it is very on, but there was something like puppeteer, mouse dancing, Despacito dancing puppet, 21st of August 2017. Is that really when it came out? Okay, so I guess I was like way behind the trend, if anything. No, do not play that. Is this when it first came out? I was actually trying to find this video for ages, so I can't believe how long it took me. It was December 2017. Okay, never mind. No, July 24. Okay, so it turns out I was way wrong about timing wise. Anyway, doesn't really matter about when it first came out. But the more important part I was trying to focus on was my perspective of it, of hearing this, seeing this video, and being like, that's a cool dancing mouse, not realising that this song was Despacito, and then probably like a year later, here, being like, okay, let's actually listen to what Despacito is, and being like, wait a minute, I know this song from a random video. A dancing mouse puppet. Which, by the way, a very good dancing mouse puppet. So the timelines I got completely wrong, which does make more sense, because I don't, if it was a completely underground song, I probably wouldn't have heard it like that. It's not like that common a situation though, mind you. Most of the time I hear popular songs through the actual popular means rather than some roundabout way, like through radio, or like I'm in a, well, not so much anymore, but would be like in a shopping centre and it's like playing. I think most of the time now it would be when I'm like with my friends and they like put on their like Spotify playlists or whatever, and then I hear a song that way. That's kind of why I hear most of them for like the first time properly. But it's so weird when that happens. But I already know the songs. I was like, I heard this randomly somewhere else. That happened with Despacito. Apparently, a few months after, when I actually thought I heard it. So maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's kind of blew my mind though. So August 2017, is that roughly when Despacito got super popular? Plausibly, I don't know. Anyway, the long and short of what I was going to talk about is, it's very weird, I think, sort of coming full circle around on things that which are popular, which you've seen not before like they were popular, that's not what I mean to say, but before you engaged with them from the perspective of, it's a popular thing, let me see what the fuss is about, you know? I guess that's kind of what I mean to say. I don't really know how to properly phrase that. But from it is like, I don't know, I guess it's like an interesting sort of renewed sense of discovery from it, where you're sort of just like, oh, you know, I'm finally like checking in, seeing what everything's all about. But then when it comes to it, you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Turns out I already kind of knew about this in the first place. And again, I don't mean it in a way that like, oh, you know, I'm so indie, I knew about these things before they're cool. No, it's more like I found out about the things before I realised I was engaging with something which was cool. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if I make any sense. I basically just wanted to talk about that very sort of roundabout thought process of coming back to Cat's Eye. Anyway. It's a catchy song, what else can I say? If anything, I guess it's kind of like a sense of deja vu when I'm with you. No, it's like a weird disconnected sense of deja vu, where it's the actual thing you're getting deja vu for is not really something you're getting quote unquote deja vu for. It's more so, I would say, that how would I put it? I guess it kind of literally is deja vu, because you are literally seeing it again, which is by definition what deja vu means, right? It's seeing again. But in a weird case, it's like not what actually deja vu means, right? Because deja vu is meant to be that feeling like you feel like you've seen something before. But I guess, I don't know how to put this. I guess that is a feeling you get, but you know, it's kind of a different feeling, because my impression of deja vu is always a vibe that you feel like you've seen something before, but in reality you probably haven't. That's kind of what I get from deja vu, or like the idea of deja vu. But this is a case where you literally have seen it before, but you've seen it under a different context, or you didn't know about the context, I suppose, surrounding it. I guess that's probably the way that makes most sense. You've seen something before, but you weren't aware of a context surrounding it, and then you see it again with a recontextualized of like it's super popular, or you know, it's blown up because of XYZ, who knows. And there's like a very weird sort of I'm not sure if reinterpretation of it is the right word, but there's certainly an interesting re-consuming of it. You know what, it's actually a good one, but I didn't think about, but I think I brought up before, but it was it's the Pete Rodriguez song, I Like It Like That. Yeah, which was released back in 1967, which for some reason I know. I have no idea why I know. But it's a song which goes, I like it like that, I like it like that, I like it like that. And I very much, you know, liked that song. And then I remember my friend was singing it once in like just a disco call. I can't remember. I think we were actually playing like It Takes Two, or some sort of similar co-op game like that. And then I was very confused, because I was like, this is like a really old song from the 1960s. I'm surprised my friend knows this. So I remember asking him, being like, how do you know that song? And then he was shocked at me, because it turns out he was singing the Cardi B song, I Like It Like That, which samples that song, I Like It Like That. And obviously I'm not really someone who keeps up much of for popular songs. So he was like, how do you know that song? That's a very interesting sort of recontextualization, right? Of knowing that song before and then having it recontextualized in the modern day, I suppose. Like, oh, this is why it's sort of like blown up again. It's not that people are necessarily remembering a Pete Rodriguez song in specifics, it's more so much like you're learning about why it's popular for realsies. I don't know. I just guess it's more like a incidental encounter with a popular, but not knowing it's popular. It's kind of like the vibe of like you see a celebrity or something, but you don't know who they are, and then later learn how popular they're going to be. I feel like that happened with my friends with Sabrina Carpenter or something. Actually, no, Sabrina Carpenter was kind of like that as well. Because I heard about Sabrina Carpenter because my sister is like a big fan of her, like from ages ago, to be honest, like so long ago. And I remember talking to me about it, and then years later I went to see what we went to see, I should say. I can't even think right now. Blackpink. I was like, what on earth is that K-pop group called? Blackpink. In concert. It was in a thing called like BST, which is basically like this summer concert in UK where a load of different artists come, and Sabrina Carpenter performed there. And I, at the time, thought like, oh, I have no idea who Sabrina Carpenter is, but my friends are like kind of like excited to see her. So I was like, okay, cool, you know, we'll vibe out, have a good time and all that. And then I can't remember what the song is. Pre-espresso and all that, but it's da 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 da. What is it called? That's not Sabrina Carpenter songs. Not please. Oh, Nonsense. That's it. She sang Nonsense, and then I suddenly had a flashback, being like, "Wait a minute, I actually do know this song. Like, I have heard it before." And I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." This is like completely recontextualized, being like, this person who I'm watching was, who I thought was just like everyone else. I was just like discovering them, not discovering, but listening to them for the first time in this random concert. Turns out I already knew who they were. Or not knew who they were, like heard her songs before in a completely different context of my sister showing like a video from like TikTok or something on her phone. I remember she was showing like, it was about like how she sings Nonsense differently. There's like a compilation of how that the like ending part of Nonsense or something like that. And it was an incredibly fascinating situation. I think that's probably the best example of having something kind of like completely not recontextualized, but being like, whoa, I didn't even realize I knew about this in the first place. Anyway, on that note, I think I'll round this episode up here. Actually, no, you know what? Let's draw a thumbnail out. Recontextualized popularity. Maybe that's like what I'll call this video. I don't really know how to describe it. I need to like work more on my thumbnail art. I'm sorry, it's been like so unbelievably busy lately. Hence like a lot of my late recordings, but it's been rather difficult to even do so. I will do it. I promise you, I will do it. I refuse to do exactly the same thing as last time and have a 100-day backlog. You know what? After this, I'll work on thumbnail art. I was going to play some of a Honkai Star Rail new patch, but no, you know, I owe it to try and do my best to actually finish off as much of it as I can. I think a part of it as well is like I feel like my wrist is getting quite like iffy from it, but okay, what would I draw? I'm going to draw that mouse puppet dancing. Oh, I don't know how to do this properly. This makes no sense. What would a tagline be? In a whole new light. No, I don't know, I think of tagline. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling, and likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.